We are excited that you are joining us on our first episode all about Budapest, the capital of Hungary. You will hear all about the famous Buda Castle and Fisherman's Bastion, the famous Link Bridge, as well as how to navigate the metro, avoid taxi scammers, and most importantly, how to say cheers in Hungarian, plus, obviously, a whole lot more. This is the first episode that we're doing about this amazing city, as there is just so much to see and do here, and we are jamming as much as we can into a week so we can give you all the info you need for a visit to Budapest. Hope you love the episode as much as we love this city, and don't forget to see all the pictures or any of the links to the tour I mentioned. You can go to the episode description on the player you're listening on now and click the link to episode 101. So please enjoy this episode all about Budapest, Hungary. Good morning, Lyle. How are you going?
Morning, Leonita.
We are starting episode 101. So if this is your first joining us, well, listener, welcome.
Yes, welcome.
We are talking today about Budapest. Yes, we've started our European holiday and we're going all over the place, but we have started here in Hungary's capital city, and there is so much to see here. Like, I knew it was going to be pretty amazing, but I've been blown away. And so we're going to separate Budapest into a few different episodes just because we want to cover as much as we can to give people as much information, right?
Yeah, hi. Originally probably we came here because I wanted to come here.
Yeah,
and,
correct.
I had seen beautiful photos of the Parliament House and all
the bridges and the rivers. Yeah.
Whatever. But I've got to be honest, it's been far better than I expected.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's just give people a bit of an idea. We talk about the history. We arrived. So we arrived into the airport. Yeah, we flew Emirates from Australia to Dubai into
Budapest Ferenc Liszt International Airport.
Yeah.
And that's about 30 minutes from the city.
Yeah.
And the main area and generally you can from there you can either catch a cab, which we did, or you can catch a shuttle bus to the
main square,
which is called Ferenc Tér.
Yeah.
Now for us that was a little bit far, so we obviously
if we knew what we were doing, there is a metro station there, so you could do it. But after you've been in the air and travelling for 30 hours and you have a heavy suitcase, like, we take that option to get the taxi, didn't we? Budapest airport is really easy to navigate getting out, and it was quick and easy.
Yeah, the signage was great. There was a taxi stand directly,
and they still stamp your airport, so that your passport. So that was pretty exciting because it was our brand new passport, and we've got a stamp in it now. Yeah. So I did do some reading up on taxis, and it is known here, but people they can get scammed, and taxis are one of the ones that actually do that a bit. So they said, make sure you get the yellow taxis. So we went straight into a yellow taxi, and I asked the guy, could we pay by card? And you said earlier that you'd read that by law they have to take card.
Yeah.
But he said, no cash. And I said, well, I don't have any. And he said, do you have euro? And I said, yes. So we paid him in euro. But he was very helpful and very nice. So if he was scamming us, he did a good job.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be scammed by him.
Yeah,
if that's the case. But I was looking, I think it was $81 Australian, which I think it was 51 euro.
Yeah,
so
it was a lot.
But the just to talk about and the other side of it, you can actually because Hungary is bordered by 7 countries. That's right, 7 countries. There's Slovakia, Romania, Croatia, Austria, Serbia, Ukraine, and Slovenia. There are direct train.
From other capital cities. Where's the train station?
The train station, I've got no idea where the train station is.
Actually, I think it's not as far out as the airport, actually. I saw it on a map. So.
Well, I'd imagine that train station also maybe connect up with the metro. I
don't know. Yeah, of course it would. Yeah.
So
let's just talk about you've talked about the countries that border it, but a little bit of a bit more geography and history.
Okay, so the population for
Hungary?
Budapest, is 1,780,000, and that includes all the metro area. The population of Hungary is 10,156,239 people. The local currency is foreign, and so they don't have the euro here.
No.
It's even though it's part of the European Union. Yeah, it's a foreign. Now the history.
Oh, just back to the cash thing. It's like really difficult to get your head around the conversion because everything here is like thousands. Like a glass of wine can be up to 3,000 of the local currency, and you just sort of think, well, how much is that? In Australian, and I mean, I know you got to pay what you got to pay, but it's really hard because dinner can be like 39,000 or whatever. It can be quite expensive. So no, it doesn't not necessarily expensive, but it sounds expensive. So it's just we sort of worked out a bit of a calculation. We times it by 4, didn't we?
Yeah. Because again, because it's Australian currency, it's 0.0042 foreign to $1 Australian dollar.
Yeah.
So look, and talking about currency, one of the things we have noticed is that there is a service fee.
Yeah.
Most hospitality.
You go and you buy 2 drinks, and you have the price for the drink. We're going to tell you a bit more about that in a little while too. And then there's a service fee, and you asked about that this morning.
Yeah, I asked about that this morning, and whether it was a tax or whether it was a tip or whether it was. Now the people were
because it's not just weekend at home. Sometimes you get a fee for.
Well, that'll be a service charge for a public holiday,
right? But here it's been every day.
It's been every day. Now I spoke to the people at the hotel. They were a little bit non-committal,
right.
But from what I get, it is a tip. But the gentleman did say that some businesses do pass it on to the staff, but others don't.
Right.
So that if you, I had a quick look at averaged out over a couple of dinners that we had. It works out to about 15% on top of what the menu says.
Yeah.
So just be aware of it. It is what it is, as Leanne said, but it's there.
Okay. All right. Let's get on to the history.
Okay. Now, it was founded in 895 and became a Christian kingdom in 1000 by the crowning of St. Stephen, recognised by the Pope. Medieval Hungary, one of the biggest challenges of Stephen and his descendants was the stabilisation of Christianity and the Europeanisation that previously nomadic Hungary people.
Right.
The largest ethnic group of Hungary are the Hungarians, or as they call themselves, the Magyars.
I'm just going to apologise here for any pronunciation that we muck up because we're just doing it in our English style, but I know that we're probably going to get some of it wrong, so sorry about that.
Yeah.
It's a pretty harsh sounding language, and we've been trying to get the pronunciation right, but it is a bit tricky.
But like a lot of the Europeans, the Ottomans come in, the Turks came in and they ruled it for about 150 years. And then came the Austro-Hungarian Empire, and obviously Hungary was part of that empire.
You can see
that.
You can see the Austrian influence, that we saw actually in Trieste as well. The buildings are all the same height and they've got that same sort of square frontage on them. Yeah, for sure.
And then once the Austro-Hungarian Empire basically didn't exist anymore, the Soviet Union came in and they basically ruled it for about 69 years, from 1922 to 1991. And then
so there's people here today that have lived under communist Russia because that's only 35 years ago.
Yeah, that's correct. So Hungary was actually part of the Eastern Bloc from 1945, which is basically the end of the Second World War, to 1989, which is when the war...
on the 8th of November 1989.
Oh, you nearly forgot. And how do you know that?
Oh, that's one of my kids' birthdays.
Yeah, fair enough. So it was basically in part of the Eastern Bloc and behind for 44 years.
But you wouldn't, I don't know what I expected. To be honest, there are buildings that you think, that was probably built in communist time, but most buildings, most of the architecture, most of the city is stunning.
Yeah. Look, and just a bit of the history on the old Budapest, the city itself, was previously separate towns of Buda, or Buda, and Pest. Pest were officially unified in 1873 and given the new name.
Now, it's divided. They were divided by the river, the Danube. So
Correct.
on one side is the Pest area, which is like the flat side, and then the Buda side, which is where we're staying, is the hilly side. Yeah?
Yeah. Now, the city was the focal point of the Hungarian Revolution of 1848 and the Battle of Budapest in 1945, as well as the Hungarian Revolution of 1956. The central area of Budapest along the Danube River is classified as the UNESCO Heritage Site and has several notable monuments of classic architecture, including the Hungarian Parliament and Buda Castle, and the city also has around 80 geothermal springs.
Yeah,
the largest thermal water cave system, second largest synagogue, and the largest parliament building in the world.
No, it's not the largest. Third largest.
Third largest
in the world. I think it's the largest in Europe, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah,
so where we, just to go back to us coming to Budapest, and we got a taxi to our hotel. Now we're in the Novotel on the Danube. Yeah, and I'm going to put some pictures of everything we talk about today. But because the view from our hotel room is like a postcard, like you can't believe. We're right opposite the Parliament House, and it doesn't matter what time of day, what the weather is like, it is a spectacular building. And the photos don't really show how grand it is. But my gosh, it is. And at night time when the lights come on, like we just sit here and I can't believe it. It's
and obviously as it gets darker and darker and darker, the illumination of the actual building just gets brighter and brighter and brighter. And then, you've got also a lot cruising past in dark. You've got all these river cruises.
Boats. Well, they go all day long, don't they?
Yeah. But at night you sort of see them
lit up. Well, last night we saw one and it was like blue neon, wasn't it? Yeah. Like a really long one, which actually was a bit out of place, I thought. It looked like a modern, party sort of ship and this ancient building behind it. So anyway, so back to our location. We're here, as I said, on the Buda side of the Danube River, right? Now the Danube River is quite long, isn't it? It's
the second longest river in Europe after the Volga in Russia. It flows through central and southeastern Europe from the Black Forest south into the Black Sea. Originating in Germany, the Danube flows southeast for 2,850 kilometres, or 1,770 miles, passing through and bordering a whole bunch of countries, including Austria, Slovakia, Hungary, Croatia, Serbia, Romania, Bulgaria, Moldova, and Ukraine. And today, 2,415 kilometres of it is navigatable.
It's pretty
cool.
So
it's a huge river.
Yep.
And we are basically right at this moment sitting across the road from it.
Yeah, pretty cool. So we're in a great location here in our hotel, and I'll have some pictures, as I said, on the website. It's beachtravelwine.com.
So what do you think of the hotel?
And it's episode 101. The hotel for a week is probably a bit small, but I don't
in the hotel room.
But we've got a buffet breakfast, which is great. Bed's so comfortable. The shower and bathroom's modern. It's quiet. You can't hear any noise.
Yeah, the soundproofing's amazing.
From the road, from people around. The hotel, you can't hear other people.
And I'd have to give the location 10 out of 10.
Yeah. So I think I've had a look around the other hotels, and I can't see any that have balconies. And I think having the breakfast is a positive for sure, because I take food and we eat all day with the snacks and things that I get. Plus, we are really close to the metro, and we're going to talk about that in a minute as well. So, but what I'd like to do now, Lyle, we've gone on enough about the history and where we are. I'd like to talk about our first day, full day, where we went to Buda Castle. Yes, let's do that. So, Buda Castle from where we are is probably a kilometre, maybe a bit more, to the bottom of the hill that it's on. And we were lucky enough to go early and came across the funicular, right? And the funicular is normally very, very busy and a big lineup, because every other time we've been past it, there's been people lining up for miles. But we got straight on, remember? And we got into a little. There's only three little. I mean, it's not that big. There's only three little cabins. Yes.
Yeah.
And we were talking to a guy called Alex from Spain.
Felix.
Yeah.
From Tenerife.
Yeah, from the
Canary Islands.
Yeah. And so it lasted about 2 minutes, if not even that. I'd say a minute.
Yeah.
And you're up the top, and we couldn't really have views because there was wood paneling all the way up around. And
then that's family got on, and they were in front of us. But like,
as soon as you get out though, up the top, you're just like, oh wow. So what is Buda Castle like?
Okay, so Buda Castle is the historical castle and palace complex of the Hungarian kings in Budapest. It was completed in 1265, although the massive Baroque palace today occupies most of the site, was built between 1749 and 1769. The castle now houses the Hungarian National Gallery and the Budapest Historical Museum. Buda Castle sits on the southern tip of Castle Hill, surrounded by the tourist area known as the Vanageri. Okay, let's just cut that bit out. It's called the Castle Porta, which is famous for its medieval, Baroque, and neoclassical houses, churches, and monuments. The hill is linked to Clark Adams Square and the Széchenyi chain bridge by the Castle Hill funicular, which is what we wrote up. Now, the thing about it is that...
Well, when you say Buda Castle, you think of an actual castle with spikes on it and that sort of thing. It's nothing like that. It's like a massive complex of huge buildings that are just stunning. And as you said, at the moment, like it's not used for any official political people or anything like that. So all the buildings that we know of have been turned into either, as you said, a gallery. Yeah. There's actually a library there, but also there's a riding hall.
And that's beautiful, that riding hall. There's a statue
at the front. Yes, and I've got photos of all this, of course.
Yeah, and that statue is actually person restraining a horse.
Yes,
and that looks fantastic. And you've got the stained glass windows and the ornate roof, and it's pretty spectacular.
And as I said, it's a huge complex, and a lot of the old buildings are now restaurants as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so you can go up there and have a meal.
Yeah. Now, to get up there, as Leanne said, is you can either go the funicular, or there are lifts, and they're free. The funicular is not cheap.
No,
it was about
$16 each. I think.
$16 Australian each, which is probably about €10, I would say.
But there's also a little bus if you have like a Budapest pass. You can hop on that little.
But the lifts are free. And actually, when I thought about it, I thought, well, if we've got all those restaurants on top of the hill,
they've got to get people up there.
They've got to get people up there, and the people are not going to pay to go up the funicular if they want to go up for dinner.
Well, but you can walk up. There's we walked down the stairs, which was a bit of an effort for me with my dicky legs, but there were people like of all sizes and fitness levels walking up those stairs. So it's very steep.
Another part of which we couldn't get into because there was a practice of
when we got there, that's right.
And that was basically there was a military band, and there was
military horses.
Horses, and there was also police,
and
and that was there was some sort of parade practicing.
I felt like we were
right in front of St Stephen's Hall.
Yeah, which is
St Stephen's Hall
is where he lived. St Stephen,
basically, and it's.
They've redecorated it or
and we couldn't get in, unfortunately, but it looks typical of any European.
I felt like we were in
digs.
It does. I thought we were in a SBS show, to be honest, because we were standing there and there's these cars arriving, police cars with the blue light, but they're like not like a police car. You know what I mean? Like what am I saying?
Oh, like yeah.
Like the private vehicles with the little blue light on these two guys get out, well-dressed young guys. Like
Good looking.
Yeah, they're obviously like Secret Service. Just reminded me of some of those SBS pop shows that we watch that are dubbed.
And also, and one of the things too that I noticed is when the soldiers marched past us, they were all good looking. Blokes and
they had their swords and everything. But I was also surprised how many people were there. There was a lot of tourist groups there, but it's so big. Like we walked all across the front of the castle, and there's many spots where you can, once again, go and have a look with photos. Beach Travel Wine, episode 101. The views from up the top down back over the Danube and the Parliament building and the Chain Bridge and just back over the buildings itself is stunning.
Well, the area of Buda Castle is 4.73 square kilometres.
Yeah,
and it was actually World Heritage Site in 1987.
So there's lots of big buildings, and one was a gallery, and then there was a museum. We went and had a coffee in the cafe of the museum there. There's statues, a lot of big statues out the front as well. The cobblestone streets out the front, all along that. Look, that's all original. It's an impressive. And we walked through the Habsburg Gate. It's a big ornamental, with gardens around it. That was amazing too.
Well, the Habsburgs were basically
the Austrian hierarchy or whatever.
Monarchy.
Yeah, monarchy, that's it.
So,
and as soon as we got off the funicular too, that's where the Habsburg Gate is, and you can see down into some of the Buda Castle. There was like a little change of the guard. There were two soldiers there sort of going in and out doing their little thing, which is impressive as well. Now, I would definitely recommend doing a tour, and I'm going to put a link to a tour in the show notes because there's so much there to see, and I think, and there's tour groups everywhere, all different languages. So I think one that includes the whole complex would be definitely the best way to go with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Now there's
the other side of it too is at night when the Buda Castle lights up.
Yeah,
is incredible.
Yeah, I'm going to get some photos.
Now
of that
that's
too.
also that's connected to the Chain Bridge.
Yeah,
which is called the Széchenyi Bridge, named after Count Estefan Széchenyi. The Chain Bridge is the oldest and the first permanent bridge to span the Danube River in Budapest.
Yeah.
Construction started in 1840 and was opened on the 20th of November 1849. And in World War II, its decks were blown up by the retreating Germans, but that was fully restored and reopened in 1949.
I'll just interrupt too. It's really easy to walk across this bridge. It's got a walkway on each side, really safe. The views are stunning, and they've got a big lion. Which
I reckon that'll be probably that St. Mark's Lion.
Sure, maybe. Yeah, but there's two, like one on each side. And just walking across there is looking back. You look down over the river cruise boats, down over the Danube. You can see all the way down the river. There's 8 bridges in total, I think.
Across the Danube, you're right.
Yeah.
And this particular bridge is about 380 metres long.
Okay, yeah, that's how far it's go across the river.
It's a decent-sized river.
Yeah, it is. And from where we are, we can see about 4 different bridges, but that's the one that is the main one to walk across because it is the oldest. Yeah. Now, another thing, like when we're recording, well, this will go out in it's May, is it? I don't even know. It's May, isn't it? Yeah, May 2024. There's a lot of construction work going on up at Buda Castle, which they're obviously like, and it's not just construction. I think it's maintenance work, and from what I can see, it's going to be even better when they're finished. A lot of the walkways and the buildings, and they're maintaining all the front of that. So I think that whole complex is just going to get even more impressive to visit. Now, it did make it a little bit difficult for us because it is attached to the next place we're going to talk about, which is Fisherman's Bastion. And I did notice yesterday when we drove through there on that little tour we did that people were walking through from Buda Castle through to Fisherman's Bastion, but there was a lot of construction, and because it was Saturday, they probably weren't working.
I'd say, yeah.
But when we were there were bits sort of shut off, so we went the long way around. But it was a beautiful walk. Normally it's attached to Fisherman's Bastion, and it's easy to get across there. But we had to go down the hill and then back up the hill.
We went down to
Oh, that's right. At Buda, there's gardens.
The gardens.
At Buda Castle as well. They're called the garden markets or something. There's no markets. Bazaar. And there's archways with climbers on them. There's rose gardens. It's green grass. There's restaurants there too with a rooftop bar. There's waterfalls. There's big staircases on the entrance, like go up both sides. There's a big fountain. A lot of people, that's the main entrance where they go in through that way as well. So that's, and it's free to get in, we should say.
Yeah, it's free to get in. But just to be aware that the National Gallery and the Historical Museum, there's a charge to get in to see those.
There is.
It's, I think we worked it out to about, about $16 Aussie, which is about €10.
Yeah, so it's
both of those particular.
And there's information centres around as well. So we often have questions, and they were really helpful, weren't they, letting us, giving us information on where we should go and all that sort of stuff. So we walked down the stairs. We went up the funicular, went all around the complex, watched the people, the army practice there, whatever they were, and then 2 cars drove in, didn't they? And they were all sort of covered over with plastic and paper, like it was bizarre.
Yeah, to me, it looked like it was probably a launch of some sort of new model of car. Because
why would the army be involved in that? Anyway, we went up.
Pomp and ceremony.
We went up the funicular. You could spend quite a few hours up there, like we did, and then we walked down the stairs into the garden and came out the other entrance, and then we walked from there about, it's probably not even a kilometre to Fisherman's Bastion.
Yes, we did.
There's a few more stairs we went up and a path, but it was through gardens, like lush green lawns and big trees, and, sort of helped with the puffiness of getting back up the hill again. But
it was a bit of a struggle. Like, you've got to, I'd say, have moderate fitness to do it.
What I'm saying though, that won't always be the case, because you normally can walk from one to the other. So once you get up to the Buda Castle, you can either walk, like whether you know what I mean? Like we just that there's that construction was going on and we couldn't do that. So Fisherman's Bastion, whoa, like it looks like, as my daughter said, she was here many years ago, and I'd forgotten, and she sent me the photos. She said she loved it because it looked like there were sandcastles, and that's a really good way to describe the Fisherman's Bastion building. And so go and have a look. Fish Travel Wine, episode 101, and we've got some great photos. So the entrance we came in, what sort of hit you in the eye first is St. Matthias. Is that how you say it?
The church. St.
Matthias Church. Yeah. And because, it's stunning and big, and like it looks incredible, but the roof on it, the tiles on the roof, they're bright colours, aren't they? Like oranges and
I'll give you the deal on
let's do that.
Matthias Church, which is the Church of the Assumption of the Buda Castle, more commonly known as the Matthias Church, is located in the Holy Trinity Square. Originally built in Romanesque style in 1015, the current building was constructed in late Gothic style in the second half of the 14th century and was extensively in the late 19th century. The church was the location of the Marian miracle of Buda. In 1686, during the siege of Buda city by the Holy League, a wall of the church used as a mosque, this was during the Ottoman occupiers of the city, collapsed due to cannon fire. It turned out that an old votive of Madonna statue was hidden behind the wall. As the sculpture of the Virgin Mary appeared before the praying Muslims, the morale of the Muslims garrison collapsed and the city fell on the same day. So there you go. That's one of the legends of the Matthias.
So that church is part of the Buda Castle complex, is what you're saying?
Well, it's the Fisherman's Bastion complex, but it is huge, and the spires are huge. And there's actually a statue of St. Stephen's on horseback in that Trinity.
Yeah, I've got a
Square.
picture of that with looking back over the church.
And it took like 40 years for that statue to actually be completed, because a lot of the, I suppose, council was thought that the statue was not big enough compared to the Matthias church. So there was a fair bit of controversy about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and look, the statue's nice. The parapet, just to make you aware, there is a cost to going to the Matthias church.
Yep.
And there also is a cost to do the main or the highest parapet around the Fisherman's Bastion. So yeah.
But there are restaurants there too, and there's archways, and you can get nice photos through there. Lots of people sort of standing on top of the staircases, through the archways, getting photos back down to the Danube. It's a very popular spot.
Again,
nice.
Amazing views over the Danube.
Yeah.
It basically, I'll give you a bit of a rundown on Fisherman's Bastion. Its main facade parallel to the Danube is approximately 140 metres long, of which the southern aisle is 40 metres, the north is 65 metres, and the ornate centre parapet is 85 metres long. So that's where I think the cost is to go in. It is 7 high-pitched stone towers symbolising the 7 chieftains of the Hungarians who founded Hungary in 895. The original walls were built in the 1700s. The current structure was built in 1895 to 1902 in neo-Romanesque style, and the base of the stretch of the Buda Castle wall. The building was formerly known as the Fisherman's Bastion, presumably from the section of the city wall entrusted to the Guild of Fishermen.
So, but it's not old. Did you say when it was built?
Yeah.
It was like to celebrate something, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's I think it was started in 1895 and finished in 1902, which is similar to the Parliament building.
Oh, okay. I thought it was new on that. Fair enough. One of the things I found quite surprising about that area was right sort of smack bang behind the church and the main facade of Fisherman's Bastion is a Hilton Hotel.
Yeah.
And it's not a very attractive looking Hilton Hotel. It just looks so out of place, I thought.
Yeah, I think what they've tried to do is they've tried to keep it in, like it's just sort of the same colour as the parapet.
You're being kind, I think.
You know, of the Fisherman's Bastion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I reckon there's probably a little bit of money sort of past hands there.
Yeah. But anyway,
to get approval. But
yes, but it was surprisingly absolutely packed with people. Sure. And was very difficult to see anything like it if you didn't have much time. So once again, probably worth paying to have the tour and getting skip the line tickets to
or either be there right at the start.
Yeah, well, that was the other thing. We went early, as I said, to the other end of the Buda Castle complex, and there was nobody around. But by the time we'd got to Fisherman's Bastion, it was very, very busy, wasn't it?
Yeah. And, the lines are quite long to get the tickets for all these attractions.
Yeah.
But, you don't have to go inside the church or the
parapet thing.
The parapet thing. But it's still really impressive.
Yeah, really impressive. Okay, let's talk about, so we came back down from there and like, one of the things Lyle and I sort of talk about, if like you can't get lost as long as you know where the water is, and everything here just basically focuses on the Danube, doesn't it? So it doesn't matter where you are along any of these complexes, buildings, you look down to spectacular views, and I think that's what my favourite thing about being up there was, and you can find little spots where you take some photos, and it's just go and check them out because they're really, really nice. And so we headed back down, but this time we just wandered, didn't we? We sort of found the back streets.
Yeah.
And we came across another staircase, but all of a sudden there was a lift there. Remember?
Yeah.
And it took us down 2 flights of like 2 levels, and from there we got these really gorgeous views back over Fisherman's Bastion through the trees, and we walked through a park, and big shady trees, and then we came across some more stairs. But that was sort of like an area of the colleges or universities, wasn't it? And some of the houses in that area
Yeah,
were
the residential area.
yeah.
Well, they say that we're in
Buda.
and that's more the residential area of Budapest, and then Pest is on the other side of the river.
Mm.
That's more commercial. But as Leanne's saying, when we're walking down through these streets, once we left Fisherman's Bastion, yeah, you could see there was plenty of money in these residential properties. And, the schools were, you had the basketball courts and the tennis courts and,
they're playing football and stuff.
It looked really impressive.
But it was really good. That's what I was trying to say about the rivers. Like, as long as we kept the river in our view, we just wandered and found our way back down through these beautiful streets, really.
Mm.
And then we came sort of out a block or two back behind where we were staying, and found a little area where there's some nice restaurants and a little supermarket and that as well, which was, just like a little quiet area where you can go and have a drink or a meal there, remember?
Yeah. And we actually, what Leanne's saying is we had a Chinese meal there, a little buffet, which was nice and it was cheap. And we bought a bottle of wine at the local supermarket, and it was a bottle of Pinot Gris.
Yep.
And it was about €5 Australian, which would be about €3.50.
Mm.
And it was good.
Yeah, it was good. So and then part of that sort of area at the front of the shops and that we were just talking about is one of the main metro stations for this side. And I should know what it's called, but I don't. I see it, I recognise it. It's like
Bethany.
Yes, I was just about to say it's like Bethany. That's right. And we have used the metro a couple of times, but we checked it out the other day, and you can buy single tickets, which are basically for one ride. So if you get off, too bad, that's it. But if you can stay on all the way to the end if you want to, that single ticket will take you. But you can't. You can buy a set of 10 tickets. Or you can buy a pass. So we just got single ticket, and and one of the things they tell you must do is validate that ticket. And there's a little machine as you get going through that you stick it in, and I put it in the wrong way. But Lyle told me, you're right, I was wrong. But you stick it in, and then if you don't validate it, and both times we've been on the train, we've had someone check our tickets.
Yeah.
You'll get a fine, and apparently it's about €100. So it's really important that you validate.
And from what I can gather, it's a bit of a trap for tourists.
It's a bit of a revenue raiser, I reckon, because you've paid for your ticket. So I guess you validate it so you can only use it once. So if you didn't do that, then you could use it time and time again. Yeah, I guess.
That's fair enough too. So what do you think of the
metro, Well, it makes sense. Like we went over to the other side from Buda over to Pest. We've walked across the bridge, but this time we're going on the metro. We're going 2 stops to get off to where we wanted to go this day. And I didn't really think about it, but you get on an escalator to go down, and my nose nearly started to bleed. I was, oh my gosh, it was so steep, and I was
so fast.
Oh, but that didn't worry me. It was more I didn't know whether to lean forward, lean back, look up, look down, close my eyes.
Back. No, I'll be leaning back. You want to be leaning forward.
No, that's what's going down. You don't want to lean forward.
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of the one where you go, because obviously on the other side,
no,
you go back, you go back up, and it is so fast.
I'd rather go down. I'd rather go down. No, go up than down. Like going down terrified me. You couldn't even see the bottom. You could not, and I said to Log, I'm going to close my eyes, just count. Tell me when we're nearly there. So he started counting down from 10, and he got to 3, and he just kept saying 3, 3. And I'm like, that is not helping. That's making it worse. Like,
I miscalculated.
Oh man, that was terrible. Yeah. So that was terrifying going down that. But we had to do it twice, so I'm glad we did it the first time, because once you're on there, though, you can't get off. You could having a panic attack when you're there. And people, they're running like these young people running down beside us. You take 2 steps at a time down to the bottom. Oh, my Lord. It scared me. But when we got down the bottom, you can choose which train, and luckily I knew which way we were heading, which was the complete opposite way to what I thought we were going. And I tell you, you get on that train, and it's like not even a minute and you're on the other side of the Danube. Like, it flies.
Yeah, that's fast, the train too. Yeah.
And,
well, you know.
and cheap. So from where we are, one station across, which is what we're going to do another day, is where you get off to Parliament House, and then the 2 stops is basically the busy area in town where you can access the ruined bars, Jewish Quarter, the main square.
St. Stephen's Basilica, the synagogue.
Yeah. So it's certainly, you can walk it, which we've done. We've walked back, but yeah, using the metro isn't difficult at all. And
and it's spotlessly clean.
And there's people to help everywhere.
Yeah.
At the top of the stairs, at the bottom, the escalator at the bottom.
Yeah.
People just get on and off really quickly. There's no problems at all.
Yeah, and it's not. There's no. How can I put it? Undesirable people.
Yeah, sort of.
Hanging around there.
Yeah, some of the trains we've been on in Australia, there's yahoos and people just out to cause trouble sometimes, but definitely not. They're obviously getting on and getting off. So that was a metro, and we've still got a few more metro trips we've got to do before the week's out. So
but talking about how clean the metro is, the whole city is spotless.
Yeah.
We have went to a park, which I'm sure we're going to talk about later in another podcast, to Margaret Park, and as we're walking across another bridge, this was on a Saturday morning. The council workers are all there gurning
the bridge. Yeah, that's right.
And the footpath, and it's just and you've got people. They don't use the blowers like we do in Australia.
No, they're sweeping.
They actually do. They've got lots of people with brooms sweeping up cigarette butts and that sort of thing. Not that you see that many cigarette butts anyway.
No.
But yeah, look, I was really, really impressed how clean it is.
Talking about cigarette butts, though, it's funny. When I don't know, it was obviously the first day we're here, and you're walking along and you sit down to have a drink, and there's people next to you, tables close, smoking. And you just, it's really weird how I just think, oh, we're back in Europe. And it's sort of not at all offensive or worrying that, people are smoking. But if you're at home in Australia, you'd be like, oh,
horrified.
You would, that people would be, well, you can't smoke in any of those places anyway. And, it's not acceptable at all. But for some reason, it's just not even offensive in any sort of shape or form here, is it?
Yeah, too. And the other side of this particular city is, I don't know whether you agree, Lam, but it's a young, vibrant city.
Sure.
There's a lot of young people.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of older people that you would imagine, that a stereotypical Soviet Union,
Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, who obviously lived through some terrible times, like the grandmothers with their cardigans on and their shopping bags and that sort of that sort of vibe. Yeah, you're right. But there's also there's not really a stereotypical young. Just every fashion, there's some really upmarket shops as well, but like people walking around yesterday in such glamorous gear, and then there's other people that are just casual. It's a real mix, isn't it?
Yeah. It's but at no stage have this is our 4th day here, I think. No, 5th. And at no stage have we felt anxious about walking around at night or anywhere.
The only anxiousness I have is the bikes and the scooters. They just zip past, and you need to be aware of it. And because we're so used to walking on the left-hand side, and you go to, when you go to look to cross the road, well, here you've got to cross the bike track and the road. And if you look the wrong way and you step out in front of it's so easy, those bikes just zipping past. So you need to be really aware of that.
But it's the first time I've actually seen traffic lights that have
bikes on them.
Have a traffic light for the bike.
Sure, yeah, they do. But it's just something to be aware of,
sure.
Because you go to look the wrong way and put your foot out, and people zip past so pretty quickly, to be honest. One of the other observations that I've, I think it's worth mentioning is there's you can eat dinner early. There's not, like in other parts of Europe, people go out later. Here,
in Spain.
Well, even Italy.
They do eat a lot.
And I can't talk about many other places but I just here, we've been out to dinner at 5:30, and there's other people eating dinner. It's not an issue, and people are up early here too, because most, in Italy and in Spain, you get up at 8. out at 8 o'clock and you're the only one out. But here, the sun's up at 6 o'clock and there's people out walking, riding their bikes. People get cars going past, heading off to work. It's sort of the city gets
from about 6:30. I've noticed the streets are pretty damn busy.
Yeah, so it gets started pretty early, and so yeah, that's quite fascinating to me. That it's very different that way. So yeah. Any other observations you've got, Lyle?
Yeah, but I think they're all for the next podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we've got coming up. So today we've basically covered where we've stayed and on the Buda side and that huge, amazing complex that Budapest is famous for. We still want to talk about Parliament House. We're going to tell you about a tour that we did there. We are going to talk about Margaret Island, which is a fascinating little place we found yesterday, which is just stunning. We're also going to talk about what we went and saw on the Pest side, like St. Stephen's Cathedral, and there's some other things that we're going to share with that, and a wine tour that we did out into the countryside. And also we're going to go to the thermal baths. And
that's tomorrow.
Yeah, and also the river cruises.
Yes, tonight.
Yeah, so lots more coming up. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode all about Budapest, and you can tell that we're just blown away by the place.
You need at least a week here.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know how people say they come here and do it in 3 days,
or they hop off a river cruise and have one night.
It's worth more than a week.
Yeah, definitely. And we're talking to people yesterday who, trying to talk us into spending time in the countryside, which is one of the things I did want to do. And there's a beautiful big lake in Hungary called Balaton Lake, I think that's what it's called. And there's it's where the locals go for their holidays, but there's all the thermal baths and spas and things out there that are a fraction of the price of Budapest. Yeah. So definitely lots to explore. Not many Aussies here.
I haven't heard an Aussie.
I think I may have in the church the other day, but tourists from all over the world. We took people from the States yesterday, even local tourists. Like one of the girls was Hungarian and her boyfriend was from Norway.
Tom and Diana.
Thomas.
Yeah.
And Diana. And lots of busloads of Asian groups as well. Doing lots of tours. So just people from everywhere except Australia. So
yeah, and the sign, there's no English signs or anything like that. So it's actually a little bit daunting because you're sort of just trying to go with the flow because and the language.
Most people are speaking English, the younger ones.
Sure.
Yeah. Although we did some stuff yesterday where our tour guide had to translate. Yep. Yeah, but that's all the part of travelling. I haven't felt.
And he told us there's 44 letters in
the Hungarian alphabet.
Yeah.
And much of those you can read anything.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on our 101st podcast episode, all about Budapest in Hungary. And next time we'll be back with heaps more info about this amazing city. So it's I should know how to say goodbye in Hungarian. I know how to say cheers in Hungarian.
How do you say that?
You say, I guess you can drive.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I guess you can drive. Yeah, okay.
We probably should say where our favourite place. We're waffling. If you're still listening at this end of the podcast, well done. Where was your favourite place to have a wine? You can't out of this what we've talked about, not where we've been.
I would say the Fisherman's Best.
Okay, all right. And I'd probably say from our hotel restaurant because it overlooks like last night.
Oh yeah, that's a fair call.
Overlooking the Parliament building at night, which is pretty impressive. So
sure.
Yeah, all right. See you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.